this shot here was, once again, the hobbits are being chased by the Dark Riders. And you can see up here, our man Frodo is looking quite scared. Well, he's not scared actually, he's exhausted, because what actually happened was Peter Jackson made them run up and down the tracks for about half an hour. So he's got a bit of a glow on, bit of a sweat on, and he's actually a bit exhausted. But he was supposed to look scared because clearly that's what was going on. Now, interestingly enough, there's 3 of the hobbits up here. How many hobbits are there?
4.
There's 4. But at the top, do you know who's missing? Samwise Gamgee, absolutely. Now, Samwise, Sean Astin, he's a American actor. Now, he got the role of Samwise Gamgee, and he thought, great, I'm going adventure fantasy, Lord of the Rings is going to be great. So he went to the gym and he got ripped, flew into Wellington. Peter Jackson picked him up and went, where's my Samwise Gamgee? I want a hobbit. And he put him on a hobbit diet for the next month. So he ate a bit of ice cream, a few pizzas, all the rest of it, because he was just looking a bit too sharp. And when they started running up and down the tracks here, he only did about a couple of runs, and he ended up getting medically induced asthma. So the medical team had the old oxygen on his face, and they were, they were going through it. So he stood out. You can see you got the 3 here, right? And he's not in the shot. But this one down the bottom, you can see Sam is in that shot. Now, if you remember, Sam was the pack horse at the back, right?
Okay.
Just come forward a little bit. Sam was the pack horse at the back, right? He had the pack, he had the pots and pans, he had all the food. And what they got him to do was to jump out from behind a tree, just at the thing. And obviously they edited it so you can't really see that he just jumped out from the back of a tree. So all the rest of them ran around. He jumped out from the back of a tree, so that's the Samwise thing. Now, interestingly, this here is supposed to be at night time, but the old trick of the movies, it's got the blue filter on it, so it was filmed during the daytime. FYI. They actually had a really big tent in the movie, and people say, oh, that's the King's tent, which it was, although it was the bigger tent because it had to cover a transformer that was down there. But we call it the King's tent. But the interesting thing about this is a lot of blue screen here. There was just a small cliff ledge there where they took some photographs, and you had King Theoden and Aragorn with the blue screen behind them. So a lot of fake stuff going in here. And in fact, this backdrop is from Milford Sound down in the South Island. So doing all of this, and they've CGI'd the tents from what were down there, and they scaled them up, right? So a lot going on. In fact, even the characters here weren't the actual characters. There's a guy on the left, Aragorn. This is a guy called Tall Paul. He was a policeman. You imagine policemen, we like them quite high. He was an actor for Gandalf for just about all the shots from behind. So, but he was really tall, like he was 7 foot, right? So he was in all the, particularly when the hobbits were there, and you had a back shot, he'd make the hobbits look small, which is actually quite good. So that's what this was all about.
Those who wander are lost.
Not all those that wander who lost. So quite poetic, isn't it? And in fact, Tolkien was a bit of a poet. Now that was not stated in the film, but in the book, if you read the book, there is actually a letter that Bilbo writes to Frodo, and that there in the book is kind of a code word for when he meets up with Strider or Aragorn. So he knows, because they haven't met before, and they need to know that who he is. Now, they meet up at a place, at a pub. First pub they go to, remember the name of it? Anybody?
White Horse?
Green Dragon.
Green Dragon was one of the pubs, but not that pub. It was the Prancing Pony.
Yes.
The first one. Prancing Pony?
I have no idea. I've never seen the movie.
That's okay. No, it was my Australian accent.
All right.
So
Keep scrubbing on.
that's right. So that's. But the other thing about this is, it was technically from Gandalf, and it was about Strider. So Strider at that stage, he was a bit of a ranger, a bit of a rogue, but he was wandering, but he wasn't necessarily lost, because he was actually royalty, and he eventually sort of surfaces by the Return of the King. There are about 150 filming locations for Lord of the Rings. A lot of them on private land and conservation land. So only about 4 of them are marked actually, and this is one of them. I think Wellington Council got a bit annoyed with people asking where the filming was. So it is actually marked actually on the sign where we went to. But this quote here, anybody?
Yeah.
Can you say?
I can, yeah, it's
Yep.
when it's just as Sam and Frodo are about to leave the Shire to go into Bree.
That's exactly right. So
Yeah.
if I take one more step, I will be the furthest away from home I've ever been. So that, it's quite pertinent. It could be for you. Could be take one more step. It might be the furthest you've been away from home. Particularly for our US friends. It's quite a long. Actually, London. Probably
It's for us as well.
I was going to say you guys is probably the longest. Yeah. So that was a classic, as you said. That was just when they had left the Shire. They like an adventure, but they don't like going too far away from home, do they? Right. So this was 11th of October 1999. This was the first scene ever shot in Lord of the Rings. Okay. And if you remember, this is when the hobbits actually rolled down the hill. Now look at the, you can see there's 2 trees and a small tree. So you look at this is a small tree here, and there's the 2 trees at the back there. So that gives you an idea of where you actually are. Now you can imagine you're not going to get the real hobbits rolling down the hill. They had to get some stunt people. Well, 1999, New Zealand doesn't have a stunt industry. So Peter Jackson went into town. And he went to the karate dojos and the gymnasiums and he said, does anybody want to be in a movie? And you need to be about this high, roll down hills, fall on mats. And he got 4 very willing people. We call them stunt hobbits or stobbits. And they rolled down the hill. You can imagine when they were rolling down the hill doing this scene, they had one of those blue gym mats in the bottom here just so they can fall on it. Peter Jackson, bit of a perfectionist, like a lot of directors are. He got them to do it 17 times, which it's quite tiring, isn't it? And the last one he did, because he also says, let's do one more for good luck. Usually, once he's generally happy, he'll say, let's do one more for good luck. You never know what's going to happen. Well, you can see in this there, you can see this stobbit here. He's actually diving head first down, so he's getting into the last. He's really getting into his thing. Bit of an Oscar performance on that one. Where he came down, and he missed the mat, and he fell on his shoulder.
Oh no!
And he went, I think I've broken something. And Peter Jackson, quick as attack, went, we're keeping that in. So you can see behind me we have the trees.
Yes.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
So that's basically where it was.
Cool.
Now. You can also see, you can see the other hobbits in the background looking for mushrooms and berries because they have no idea what's going on. But Frodo knows that there's evil approaching. He knows that he's going to be chased. He hasn't told the hobbits yet. So this is like arguably, the first part of when they roll down and then they're here along the track and he can feel that something's going wrong. He can feel it because he's got the ring, right? And the ring is telling him there's something going on. And he actually says something. Do you know what he says? He thinks something on it. He says, get off the road. And then he says, get off the road! Because they're not listening to him. Now, before that actually happens, just to give the spooky environment, I'll just show you that. If you just turn around for a second, going down this area here, and there used to be a bit more bush on the sides. They planted bush here. This tunnel-like view here. Now this is what they call an Alfred Hitchcock maneuver, where they put a dolly camera and they move the camera forward and they move the focus back. All right, so it's going forward but back. And what happens is the screen starts to implode. So you can see it's quite sort of round and it feels vertigo-y and it feels like the thing is actually coming in on you. So he's looking down and he can feel something's wrong and he's feeling a bit dizzy, if you like. You can also see there's a whole lot of leaves here. If you look down, are there any leaves? No leaves there, are there? No. I mean, we are in a pine forest. I mean, where are the leaves? Right. They actually got the leaves from the botanical gardens and they went around this is 1999, I don't know if you call it child labour. They went to the kindergartens and they got all the kindergarten kids to put leaves into the bags, and then they brought them up here and they made them out, and they got the wind blowers to blow them around to give a sense of what was going on.
Wow.
So that was kind of the spookiness before he said, get off the road, and they got off the road. And if you can remember, iconically they got off the road. Does anybody know where it was?
I saw it a minute ago.
Not quite, it was a tree root, absolutely it was.
There's a bunch of bugs coming out of it.
You should be up here, come up here. But a lot of people think it's up there. Interestingly enough, the place was down here. There are no tree roots there, but I'll show you the, so there it is there, right? Very iconic. Now, the interesting thing is, the tree that was there, and I'll just go to the next shot. This is the tree that was on the side here. The tree was actually done up in wetter workshops because what they needed to do in the root system, you can see this big root system where the hobbits are, needed to be bigger than what they had here because they wanted to make the hobbits look small. So all the root system and that tree which came up from Kapiti, actually where I lived, that's why they chopped the tree down. They brought it down, put it in a stake, and then they did it up to make it look like a tree, a tree to make the hobbits look small. So it had to be quite big, the root system, right? So it was all fake. I say fake, it was well done. And they were hiding beneath there, and if you can remember, they were lying there, and when the Dark Rider came over, Frodo was just about to put the ring on. He's trying to stop himself because he puts his ring on, he gives the position away, right? And everything becomes dark and cloudy, and what we were saying before, the insects come. So we had the insect wrangler. So we had things like millipedes, which we don't have in New Zealand, by the way. But they had some real millipedes. And the interesting thing is they didn't actually tell the actors or the hobbits they were going to throw insects on them because Peter Jackson wanted the real reaction from them. So he just threw the millipedes on them.
Oh my god.
There might be a family of millipedes down there because I don't think they managed to recover them. It's probably not a good thing. We wouldn't probably allow it these days as well. But yeah.